how's it going? I am Coco.
And I am Mike.
And this is Rockin' Vino, the podcast where we talk about music and wine and how well they go good together.
You can find it on Riff Online, riffmagazine.com, Bay Area home for music news, live reviews, all that good stuff, and Rockin' Vino.
Yes, multiple places of goodness. And today we are here with Chef Gray Rollin.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, guys.
So, Gray, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you, your background? You have Belly Left Coast Kitchen here in Sonoma County.
Yeah. So I've been a chef for about 25 years now, for 25th year. I was a cook when I was a kid. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that I liked hands-on. I knew that I had a really smart cousin that had a bunch of restaurants in the East Coast. My dad said to me, "What are you going to be doing with your summer?" And I said, I had no idea. So he said, well, I'm going to send you to the East Coast, and my cousin is going to, your cousin, who I never met before, is going to teach you how to cook.
Nice.
And I went to the East Coast, flew me out there, and he peeled 50 pounds of onions, told me not to cry, which that didn't work out. And then every summer I'd go back and then slowly grew up in his kitchens. And at the end of the time I worked for him, I ran his restaurant 4 blocks from the White House in Washington, D.C. And so so I went to culinary school after that, and I found out that after I went to culinary school, I did really well. And my teacher sent me to Maui, and after I did my externship, 3 months in Maui. After my externship, I went back to California for about a week, and I go, what the hell am I doing back to California? I moved back to Maui for about 7 years. At my end of my 7 years, I got a call from my friend who was a tour catering chef working for a catering company that cooks for bands around the world or whoever. So he was Michael Bublé's personal chef at the time, and he goes, "Gray, would you be interested in traveling the world and cooking for rock stars?" And I said, "Hell yeah!"
And tough call right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tough
Let
call.
me think about that.
Yeah, and Motley Crue is my favorite band when I was a kid, and within 2 months I was Motley Crue's personal chef.
Nice.
And then I jumped into Kiss with a couple other chefs, and that was so. When we finished the Motley Crue tour, I thought I was going home. I was exhausted. This is crazy. I can't wait to do another one. He goes, "Oh, well, you're going to be doing Kiss right after this." So I was gone for 3.5, 4 months. I did 100 shows between Kiss and Motley Crue, and then I took some time off, and then I did Black Eyed Peas, T-Pain, Lil Wayne for a little bit, Tori Amos, Blink-182, Of Mice and Men, 30 Seconds to Mars, and then Prince before he passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did 21 shows in 21 shows in 21 days at the Forum with him, and one show in San Jose. That was crazy.
Was that his last tour?
That was probably one of his last big tours.
Yeah.
He probably did some smaller ones after me, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Did Gaga for a couple weeks in Sony Studios, just a small tour, super small tour. It was more or less she was just doing sound checks and stuff like that. And then Linkin Park picked me up about 8 years ago, and they said, "You're our age. Just keep us healthy and happy, and let's travel the world."
They never let you go.
And I said, "Hell yeah, hell yeah!" And I was a big fan of Linkin Park too.
Yeah.
And I think their music is something that always got me all motivated before I wanted to play baseball or some kind of sport. Got me all amped up. And the best thing about it, they're the sweetest guys and the most sincere guys I've ever met.
Definitely.
So I got to travel the world with those guys, and 66 countries later, a couple hundred shows. They're some of my good buddies, and Chester, losing Chester almost a year ago, will be the 20th. It was hard for sure, as you know, Mike. It was a tough day. It was a tough day every day, pretty much. Actually, I just put up a big memorial for Chester at Belly today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because the memorial's this Friday, essentially, the 1 year.
20, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A lot of things are going to happen around the world. So
yeah.
But yeah, I cooked for the band's family and kids and whoever they needed to me. And I was always a yes guy, and I always made them healthy. I promised that no matter what I cooked them, I would make sure they were never sick, or if I never ate it, then they would never eat it either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it was great. It was amazing. I will do it again. Who knows what's going to happen? It's
Right.
kind of up to Shinoda and the guys. But I'm just waiting. I'll just kick back at the restaurant until I get the phone call.
Now, you've mentioned this before, kind of. I don't think people would necessarily realize what goes on kind of in a given city, sort of what your job is. Say you're in Europe or you're in Japan or some, far off land, sort of on the day of a show, where you're going and what you're doing, and how does that work for you?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to travel a lot. So, say day one, Europe, never been to Germany. I had to almost teach myself how to do it because the previous chefs with Lincoln Park, they kind of didn't know what they were doing either, and so they gave me a chance. Jim Digby's an awesome friend of mine. He gave me a chance just like, this is your job. I'm hiring you to feed the band. Now just do it, and don't ask me any questions because I'm not the chef.
Get it done.
You're the chef. So I kind of had to teach myself how to make the Brad with the koshers, and the Rob, who's the vegan, and the other band, Joe and Mike and Dave and Chester, kind of feed them. So I almost had 3 menus every day. So say we landed in, I don't know, Berlin, and that's the beginning of our tour. We'll have before I even get to Europe, I'll have a go-to person, a production assistant that would say, because we headlined everything, so we can have pretty much whatever I wanted. But I always had a translator and a driver. At times I had a personal bodyguard, armed bodyguard.
Yeah.
It depends on if Kuala Lumpur or Mexico or Monterrey was big time. But I always felt safe, and it was weird to be around people that were like, all right, I'm going to act like I'm not with you. Don't act super American. don't wear like a gold watch and a giant American flag on your shirt. And then I would wake up and everyone would get to the gig. I'd be on the first bus to the gig, and I'd meet my driver around 8 o'clock. I'd get there at 6. So I'd set up my kitchen. I'd say, all right, I got this and that, and I would pre-shop a lot of things. So I have to think like, all right, I'm in Europe, so I'm not thinking pounds, I'm thinking kilos. So don't order too much chicken because 4 pounds of kilos is a lot of fucking kilos.
Yeah.
And half the band doesn't eat chicken. So I'd have to think ahead of time. So I'd always get like quinoa and brown rice and lemons and Chester's tea and chicken. But then I would go when I get there. So I have my base. So if anything happened, I would have my base of stuff. Say if the flight was late or whatever, I could creatively make a menu out of something.
Nice.
Because I pre-shopped it with someone else. But I would also want to shop because, one, I want to go see these amazing markets and grocery stores and see a town that I've never been in. And 2, I want to make sure the freshest fish. I had somewhat of an unlimited budget. Pretty much the budget is just make the band happy. And so if it's $1,000 or $50, doesn't really matter. Just make sure they're happy, which is awesome because not a lot of tours say, this is your budget now feed 300 people, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So, but because we headlined it, like I said, I could do whatever I really wanted to, and I didn't like to waste anything, so I was creative in that way. So 6 a.m. Or 8 o'clock in the morning, we'd meet my driver, my translator, and we'd go shop. And we would go these awesome markets. A lot of times I had to go to a kosher market, which is fine. A lot of times I had to go find vegan stuff. I tried to find the hardest things first, and then I go to a nice grocery store. Like when we were in Moscow, I was blown away from some of these amazing grocery stores. I remember being in China on our last China tour, and God, it was hotter than hell. AC wasn't working in the van. The guy didn't know, supposedly he's supposed to know English, he super broken English. Luckily, I have a translator thing on my phone. I was like literally typing it and then putting it up to his ear saying, I need to go here. So we're driving around like Nanjing, China. I was starting to get frustrated because now I get the text saying the band's coming in early, which throws my day off completely. Because usually I get there, start cooking or shopping at 8. They show up at 7 p.m. I got plenty of time. I got 12 plus hours. And then I have enough time to shop, get back, write my menu, send it off to the band. Chester would say, pre-show I'll have this, after show I'll have this. And then I'll have it literally ready when they're there. And then while they're on stage, I'll have a little to-go box and so. So we were going around Beijing, China, and I was literally 3 hours into it. No shop has been done. Plenty of money in my pocket. The guy's lost. I'm getting pissed. And he keeps taking me to all these little small markets that are like dogs just laying there and,
Oh, no.
and flies everywhere. And I get it. That's how people eat. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you have a band that expects not
Quality
to get sick,
food, yeah.
not to get sick and to make sure I eat good food. So I kept saying, no, this is not the market. No, this is not the market. I'm calling production back on my phone saying, can you get a translator to this guy to tell him I want to spend $800. And so take me that place. So we went to like 4 markets. I started getting pissed. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I know that I have the backup food. I know I have the chicken. I know I have the quinoa. And all of a sudden, this extremely flamboyant purple Bentley pulls up to us,
Oh my God.
next to us on at a stoplight. The convertible's down. The guy's blasting whatever music he was blasting. And I turned over and I see the guy next to us and I go, see that guy? I want to go where he shops.
Yeah.
And he took me to the most amazing grocery store ever. I was like, thank God for this fucking guy to pull up
Seriously?
to that. Thank God
Oh
for
my
this guy
God.
to pull up to this stop sign. The most perfect time. I was literally about to go postal on the guy. And just because I was on a time crunch.
Yeah, for sure.
And who knows where he would have taken me. And I feel like we were going in a circle, kind of like Groundhog Day around like, hey kids, Big Ben. But finally, I think this flamboyant guy pulled up and I'm like, and then he just took me to this insane grocery store. It's exactly what I should have been to
Like
3 hours prior.
ago.
So that was a learning experience for sure.
So do you like bring a translator with you then, like now, to make sure?
Yeah, so now it's very clear that I need a translator, I need a driver. Hopefully that's the same person. I don't like a lot of people around
For
me.
sure. Yeah.
Because the first thing they say, can I meet a band? I'm like, first of all, the answer is no.
Right. Yeah, that's not how that works.
You might get a pick. You might get a high five. You might get a hug from me, not the band. Let's just get through the day and let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
The answer is probably absolutely not. You're not going to find the band because the band's on a time crunch. They're there. They want to get fed. They want to get in their zone. They have my kitchen. They have Zen, which is their chill out. They have Den, which is their hangout, and they have Fuel, which is their food.
Oh.
They need drinks or snacks or something like that. Usually just ask me and I can just get it for them because they're trying to relax. They're away from their family. They are in a different place. Sometimes it's super hot. And they want to put in the best show they could have put on, like they do every night.
For sure.
But they want to get in their zone just like anyone else would. So, and then I do it again the next day, or the next show. So different country, typically different show, different town, different person, different currency. So that's kind of thrown me off. In the past, we did. I remember one tour. It was 5 shows in 5 countries in 6 days.
Oh dang.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Didn't know where it was. Didn't know what currency I was using. Didn't know what language you're talking to me about. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So.
You're like, just give me the basic food and I'll make something.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
What's been the craziest, I guess, thing that a band has ever wanted you to make for them, or that you've been able to find?
I remember, not the craziest thing, like the band's Linkin Park guys, when I say the band, because I've just been so close to them.
For sure.
Yeah. I guess Jared Leto always wanted organic popcorn with his every single meal, even if it was breakfast. Organic popcorn. It was his breakfast at Don't Even Stay. Just
No wonder why he's so skinny.
Right? It's always like this organic purple pink popcorn you wanted. It was kind of cool. Linkin Park. I totally freaked out at Brad one day because Chester loves like fish, quinoa, some kind of avocado salad.
Yum.
And that was his gig. That was healthy. It was fuel. It was quick.
Mm-hmm.
That was his happy food. I call it happy food.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one day we were, I think we were actually in France or Germany, and I got this beautiful fish, and I was super happy. And told Chester, I said, I'm going to make you some awesome ceviche, and he was really excited about it. And then when I was shopping, I found those glasses, those martini glasses when they have the bowl and then they have so you can pull it out, and a lot of people hold it and it spills all over them. But so I was thinking while I was doing it, I was going to try to. I'm going to give it to Chester because I think he would like it. So I made ceviche in the bowl in the top, and then I told my runner to go to the fish store to get live goldfish. So I had live goldfish swimming around the bottom bowl.
Oh my goodness.
While there's ceviche in the big top bowl. And so I brought it to Chester, and I brought it. It's pretty much just like three of us could go into the dressing room. And they wouldn't. The band's like, oh, what's that guy doing in the dressing room? But he would feel comfortable because I'm feeding him, and then I do my thing, and I'm out. I don't need. A lot of people say it must be cool hanging out with the band. I go, fuck no, it's not. It's just business, and, and it's my game face, and I love them to death. But I just whatever you guys need, and I'll be over here.
Yeah.
So I dropped off this fishbowl, and then. Jim Digby's like, no one's allowed in the dressing room. Gray and whoever not allowed in the dressing room. It's a band's having a meeting. I was like, all right. And then Chester, and he put it down, and because Brad was sitting right across from him, and Chester told me, and he came. Brad was not even concentrating on the meeting itself. But he kept watching Chester eat ceviche with a live goldfish.
Oh my God.
And then Chester, like, about 10 minutes away through it, and Brad was like, he was freaking out, I guess. And Chester came out and goes, Gray, come over here. He goes, that was the best ceviche ever. But the best thing is that we were freaking out Brad the whole time. And Brad, I guess Chester was just eating the ceviche while he was looking at Brad.
I love it.
Brad's a very simple guy, so
yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories, but.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it before. I think probably a good place to close out. I mean, it's been. I guess this will go live probably on the year of a year to the day of Chester's passing. I mean, you had a lot of time to look back on that, and I mean, like so many fans around the world did. Just have had a chance to kind of get your thoughts around it. So how do you look back on that now?
When Chester?
Yeah, just your time working with him as an artist.
How'd you find out about it?
I was giving my chef a break that he worked his ass off, and I said, I'm going to work your day shift. And I was working oven side, which I'm not a big fan of ovens. I like work saute. So I'm sitting there, and I had my phone up, and I had it up because we needed it open, and all of a sudden I was getting crazy text messages, call us, text. And then I was like, what's going on? I didn't read anything, but after like the 20th one, and I was like looking at it, and one of my buddies texted me, and he said, what happened to Chester? I go, what do you mean? I was thinking, like, what do you mean what happened to Chester? I started going back to work, and then I got a call from at the restaurant, and it was someone I knew that couldn't get a hold of me on the phone, on my personal phone. And he goes, are you all right? And I'm like, why is everyone asking me if I'm all right? And he goes, Chester passed away last night. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was like, even right now, I got little goosebumps thinking about it, because I was with them last show. We did Birmingham, England. We walked them to the stage, said it on my radio show, and I said, I've never heard your voice sound better in my life. And he gave me a big hug, like he does a lot of times. And he said he's excited about the future. So that definitely threw me a curveball. My girlfriend at the time came instantly. I said I had to go, and I was okay with that. Usually I'm like, I'll make sure someone shows up. My mind wasn't thinking right. A salad would come in, I would make a pizza, and a pizza would come in, I would make the dates. It was like it wasn't the right, my mind wasn't in the right head. And in my life, I've had a lot of that, especially recently. But how am I dealing with it? I think that his memorial show was amazing and beautiful.
Oh yeah,
you were there, right? You guys
we were there.
Man, I was standing stage right next to one of the big monitors that everyone could see on stage, and I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know how dramatic it was going to be. But when they started playing "Numb,"
oh my god,
I was like,
oh my god,
I was crying.
Yeah,
oh
my gosh, that was like insane.
And Johan got those awesome leis brought in from Hawaii, because Johan lives in Oahu. So he flew those in, so I knew what it was going to be like, in the meeting before the whole thing started. We didn't know how the crowd would react, and the band. That's what the band wanted.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been better, I think. But I was like, right when that happened, I looked and I just saw why, and my mind was thinking, why the hell is Chester not up there? And why is there a spotlight on his microphone, which is like legitimately his microphone? And I just started crying. I was like, holy shit! And then I just watch everyone else just like.
It just registered with them, like, to pick it up.
This was,
like,
it was natural.
It was a natural,
They're gonna sing it anyway.
It was amazing.
But I just got goosebumps saying it again. But for them to pick up where he would have wanted them to be, made it even more special. And yeah, that was pretty awesome. I still have voicemails from Chester, which I'll know, and he'll check in with me and before the tour, and he'd say, "Hey, I'm on this kind of diet now," or whatever, or "How's belly?" and like little stuff. He's just a normal dude, and he was probably one of my favorite people, and he made me realize that this is what a rock star should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Straight up, I mean, he's the kindest people. He was the last person to. He would take pictures with every single one of his LPU fans, and he was the last person on stage. And it was. I mean, I've never seen more like grown men cry when he would walk on stage. First saw his show, because there's a lot of people that was like, I've never seen Linkin Park before, and I've spent literally. When we were in China, the last seat of the stadium was 1 week's salary. The front row was 1 month's salary.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
So that's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's people. There's some crazy fans out there. I mean, I mean, Linkin Park has the most Facebook followers on Facebook. They have 1 billion. They have so many different world records. They have 1 billion hits on YouTube. The first band ever to have 1 billion hits on YouTube. They played 341 shows in 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just monsters. But
they're so humble. They're
crazy humble.
Yeah. But it was crazy. I mean, at the memorial show, I mean, literally there were people that have flown in from all over the world. Like the people next to us could not speak English.
Yeah. We were surrounded, I think, by 4 different countries. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just goes to show the impact that the whole band has and that Chester had. And it was amazing to see that. And
it was a long show, too.
It was a long show.
I remember I was in the dressing room afterwards, and Brad just came in. All the band just came to the dressing room. They just laid down. It was something that as a healing thing for them, because someday they needed to get back on stage, and they did it for their best friend. And it was it was a very special day for sure. And it was good to see everyone that I toured with. It was, I would call it LP family. It's all the people I live with on tour, and they're all special people, and I miss them, and I still keep in touch with them. But yeah, that was a healing. It was a hard day. The 20th is going to be an interesting day.
Yeah.
But I mean, Chester was the most happy he's ever been when he was on tour, when he had fans in front of him, when he had family around him. I think it was just fell into this dark world of alone, and I don't know, who knows. I can't say what he was, because I've never been in that direction. I was with the guy every single show, talked to him every single show, and I made him happy, and I gave him happy food, and if he saw me, he knew he'd be fed, and he knew he could, his drinks would be there, as in his teas. He didn't drink, but his teas and stuff like that, stuff to make his vocals work, his belly full, and stuff like that. Yeah, he's just a good dude, straight up.
For sure.
What I think a lot of people don't, I mean, for as big as the Linkin Park fan base is, it's such a community, and I think that I think even people sort of outside looking in don't realize how tight knit, for as big as it is, how tight knit it is.
Yeah.
So I think just so many fans took it the way everyone took it so hard. It felt like you're your family member.
Well,
it's amazing.
Well, there's a couple of things, like when I meet these people that are my helpers or my translators, and the reason why they know English is because of Linkin Park music. That's how they've learned English. And they say a lot of their music, their words in their music heal whatever situation they would be in, depending on the album or the song or the time of their life or what's going on today or tomorrow or whatever it is. I know for me, like Linkin Park makes amazing music straight across the board, and I listened to it before Chester passed away, and it was all about, wow, that's a really good song. Now I listen to the words. The words are deep.
Yes, they are.
Deep in, not as a negative thing, deep as in like, wow, these guys are like, they think about things, and who knows what, I mean, Mike Shinoda is a genius.
Yeah.
And the whole bands are insanely talented, but there's the words run a lot deeper now. I before it was more or less, wow, that's a good song, like I said. Now it's like, holy crap, those words are insane. I mean,
they resonate with people.
It resonates with me, and I've been with them for a very long time. So
yeah.
I think it's with the One More Light album especially.
Oh my
listen
God.
to those songs
Seriously.
now, and it's just a whole new meaning. And you listen to it a different way. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
yeah.
It's, so definitely I can see that being a healing thing for Chester. That was a lot of his albums are like that, though.
Definitely.
This one was a mature adult, a lot of thinking, and they spent a lot of time in the studio to get this one album. So it was a growing one for them, I think.
It was a much different sound, and I think this was the first album that they actually worked with an outside producer or outside writers.
Outside writers, right?
On this, so I think that was really interesting to the fans to hear that as well, just to hear this new direction that they were going in.
Yep.
So
totally.
Yeah, but
good guys. All of them. Love them to death. Everyone.
And so now the guys, they're kind of all doing their own thing. So Mike has his own project, and he's going to be going on tour. Is he taking you on tour with him?
No. Too small.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Too small.
Too small.
He has a chair at the restaurant if he needs to come to the restaurant.
Yeah.
If he has a show in Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
No. These shows are too small. There's I don't know, maybe there's 10 guys on tour.
Yeah.
And it's like the production, it's the guy setting up his gate rig, and maybe who knows what it is.
Yeah.
I got a call or an email saying, all right, what does Mike Shinoda like? So in my department, they know. I sent him a big email. Mike likes this. Mike likes that. These are the energy bars he likes. This is the drinks he likes. So that was my thing, and I would do it all over again, whatever they needed.
Yeah.
But this tour is too small.
Okay.
Yeah. Once, if and when we tour again, whoever that person is helping out lead singing. I mean, Chester. There's no one else could ever could fill his spot, but I know the band would like to see the legacy go forward.
I think the fans would like that too. But I think with the show in LA, the memorial show, I think that we were talking about this, that I think Mike kind of set that up in a way where he can kind of see what would and wouldn't work, or who would and wouldn't work. And I think it was very obvious that nobody could ever fill Chester's shoes, not a single person. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they'll move forward. But I have full faith that if that's the direction they want to go, they'll do it in the right way.
100%. And it's not, if it doesn't happen tomorrow or a year from now, I understand.
Totally.
Mike's not going to put some chump on the stage that it doesn't fit the Linkin Park group or feeling and stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah.
There's probably probably be a lot of trial and error thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
now it seems with what you were doing for Linkin Park that a lot of it was making healthy meals for them and everything. Have you worked with artists who wanted the opposite of that? I want the craziest batch of fried chicken or
pizza, fries.
Pizza. Yeah.
I was on tour with we did a show with Lil Wayne, and we had this big awesome buffet, and all he wanted was KFC.
Oh my
or Popeyes or something like that. Which was fine. It was an easy tour.
For sure.
Tori Amos, I was a chef for Tori Amos. She was on a white diet. She's like the sweetest, most amazing person I've ever met. But she was on a white diet, which is chicken breast, white sour cream, baked potato, white rice.
Wow.
I've never heard anything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's always something weird.
I'm sure.
People are so weird with their food. There's especially these days now.
Some people don't like it touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I don't get that. It's going to end up in your stomach anyway.
Exactly. Mix those flavors together. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. But it's been fun. Everyone I've worked for is amazing. They're always good to me. I guess you should be if your chef's feeding you something.
For real. Be nice to the chef.
But I'm always there to make sure they're happy.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. I mean, the money's good, yeah. I get to travel, hell yeah. But when it doesn't matter if it's whoever it is, Nikki Sixx or Tori or Jared or any of those guys. No matter what, I'm gonna put the best food I can on the plate for you, because that's what I do.
And so with that, like obviously wanting to produce the best food that you can, you I'm sure have now translated that into your own restaurant, Belly.
Yep.
And so how did you even end up in Santa Rosa? How did you you're from Hawaii, or you want to be from Hawaii forever, and then how'd you end up in?
What's this? It's all about the wine.
Yes.
I'm a wine guy. It's
Oh, nice.
I love my wine.
Okay.
I have like 400 bottles in my house. I made a wine room at my house.
That's awesome.
How did it find me? I think it found myself. I think Sonoma County found me. Like
Cool.
I was over the Bay Area. I was born and raised in Berkeley. I was raised in Los Gatos. I was raised in around the Bay Area, and I came up here to work at a restaurant, and it wasn't the Bay Area, but it was close to the Bay Area. It was close to sports. It was close to the Giants. It was close to Sharks. My dad used to be the vice president, so I used to go to the Sharks games all the time.
Nice.
But it wasn't the chaos of the Bay Area.
Definitely.
So, but it was right there. San Francisco's right there. I mean,
It's close by.
yeah. So I think that it had the best of all worlds I ever wanted. And I don't, when I'm on tour, it's always chaos. It's like, all right, it's a giant circus. Your job is your job, and no one else's job is your job.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do your job, there's 10 people behind you that will love to be in your position.
Exactly.
So, and I think that Sonoma County is peaceful to me. I get excited to, like, when I land in SF or I land in Sonoma Airport and I fly over all the beautiful vineyards and stuff like that. I just, this is home. I feel like I'm relaxed, instantly relaxed. And I love Sonoma County. I mean, it's, I bought a house and I got 1.5 restaurants, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
And I'm invested here. And what's crazy how people visit me from LA and around the country, and they're like, oh my God, you live in like insane. I mean, it's sunny 300 days a year.
Yeah.
Water's down the street. So, yeah, it's an amazing spot.
The menu is kind of a mix of kind of everything you've done up to this point. Is that kind of the way to describe it? Oh, your culinary
Good variety
experiences?
for sure.
Yeah.
At
So
Belly,
it's pretty much all the countries are influenced on the menu itself. So when you see it, like when I come back from Asia or Japan or Europe or Italy, it's definitely, you'll see a section of influenced on. You can clearly see that I've been to that spot recently, and I think that the one thing I'm kind of blessed about is that a lot of these chefs are always hard workers, and they're all amazing. But a lot of chefs are like, all right, they open up a cookbook and they say, all right, I'm going to make an Italian dish today. But for me, it's like I've been to the small Italian villages or towns in Italy, and if I had a day off, we'll rent a car and just cruise around. But I also get this driver, and I get unlimited budget, and I'll make the 4 guys are like, if I'm in Italy, make me Italian food. If I'm in Russia, I'm cooking with Vladimir, who's just taught me his insane like beef stroganoff recipe.
Yeah.
And I'll bring that back to Belly.
How often do you change the menu? There's some staples for sure on the
100%.
menu.
Yeah.
And then how often do you kind of customize it?
It's a good question. They say that a lot of good chefs change it seasonally.
Yeah.
There's definitely staple menus like the pork belly and the pizzas and stuff like that.
Love the pizzas.
I'll do a lot of specials, so I'll take the menu and then I'll run like 3-4 specials, and if it sells really well, then I'll put it on the menu. But it's definitely has influence of a place I was, or a person I met, or a memory of with the band, or a small mom and pop shop that I bought something similar that made me remember by a smell I smelled at a grocery store walking by a certain aisle when someone's telling me try this, like that. It brings me back to things like that.
Nice. So
changes probably more often than I want. It kind of freaks out some of the people at the restaurant. Like, why your ADHD is driving us crazy. But yeah, it's definitely have staples. I would probably slow it down. I would just do more specials and stuff like that. So,
are any of the dishes on the current menu, would you say, inspired, or have they ever been inspired by a band member that you've been on tour with?
Yeah. Robbie Muriel from Godsmack. When I was on tour with Godsmack, I was Robbie's. Like I was touring with, it was Motley Crue actually tour.
Yeah.
And Robbie had such an awesome guy too. Robbie had a diet restriction, and he loved coconut milk. So probably the grilled mahi with coconut lime is something with the mango pineapple salsa. That's probably a dish for sure that I made for Robbie.
Nice.
that was, yeah, for sure. I'm going to say yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you coming from wine country and working with all these different bands, do you find that they have an awareness of wine and are super into it and are knowledgeable about it?
Yeah.
Or has that changed over the past few years?
100%. When I was doing SDP with Chester and without Chester, Robert and those guys, I would always bring some wine from Sonoma County, and they were huge fans of it.
Awesome.
And I like to drink the small wineries, the little boutique wineries.
Who are some of your favorites?
I like Harvest Moon Winery with Randy Pitts.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh my God, he's awesome. Terrabella, which I drank a little bit last night. What else? Dutcher Crossing on what do you call it? Dry Creek Road. Mm-hmm. Unti on Dry Creek Road. Mitch is the winemaker owner. Jeez, there's so many.
There are. It's like my goal in life to go to every single winery. I know that I will probably be old and when that happens, but that's my goal.
Yeah.
It's a very large punch card.
It really is. I know. And then it just keeps growing, you know?
I might see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that these guys that are, I don't know. I like to make food and buy food and hang out with people that are from the small communities that have, not that the big ones don't have a lot of heart or something like that. They're just, I don't know. I guess you feel like this is the wine, especially Harvest Moon. You taste like Randy's stuff. Like, holy crap, man! Like your wine straight across the board is like insane.
Yeah,
and I'm not a big white wine fan, and his white wine is like awesome.
And doesn't Harvest Moon, don't they have like a sparkling like Zin or something?
I had it on the menu. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those sparkling wines that you're like, why do I like this?
Yeah.
But when you try it, it like is flipping awesome. Yeah.
I love it when they get experimental and just do like really fun things with wine.
Yeah. I do a lot of catering with them, so I do a lot of trade.
Oh, perfect.
A lot of cases of wine are in my house. Actually, a lot of yeah. And he's a great guy too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
And so so Belly expanded recently,
Yes.
right? So they took over. It used to be Jesse James massage parlor, so now it's Belly. And so what's going on with that side of the restaurant?
So I had partners when I opened up First Belly. It was a bunch of us, and I sat at a table and we all decided to open this all together. And I looked them all in the eye, and in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna buy all you guys out.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell them out loud.
Yeah, you
But in
can't
my
show your
head-
cards.
Yeah. I knew in my head that I'm gonna buy you and you and you and you all out. And so, when I had the opportunity to do that, I literally handed them their last check, and I told my landlord, I want next door.
Yeah.
And my dad and I used to sit on one side of the old restaurant, which is still somewhat new. It's 5.5 years old. And we used to say, how can we do it? It's a 100-plus-year-old building. Can it be done? How much is it going to cost? All that stuff. In about 2 weeks, he suddenly passed away about a year ago and some change. And we sat there and we found out we could do it. It was an already existing doorway.
Oh.
Pass through. Back in the early 50s, and we can actually do it. And so that's called Grant's Pass, named after my dad. So the pass-through, which my dad's name's Grant, so the pass-through is something we always talked about, and there's a big plaque in there. If you walk through, there's a big plaque to the left that says Grant's Pass on it, and has a little quote that I made him and stuff like that. So that's pretty much a dedication to my dad for everything he's done for me, and kind of where the restaurant is now today, and kind of a memorial for, like, I have Chester's thing up there too.
Yeah.
I put up today. So it's kind of like a memorial of people that were a part of my life, one way, shape, or form, that made me the chef and the person I am today, especially my dad. And so that was just something, and every single time I walk through it, I always say his name, so to myself. But so yeah, and all the chairs in the restaurant or someone that are a part of my life, one way, shape, or form, a nephew or a brother or a family member or a band member. The Lincoln Park guys have their own chair now. So when you go in there, you can see the back of it. It all has someone's different name on it.
Yeah, it's so funny. Every time I'm in there, I always hear somebody saying, "What's up with this? Whose name is this? Did I take somebody's chair?" And it's like,
right.
No.
Yeah, it's your chair for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So we got to open the new spot, and we have music tonight. We have 6
Nice.
comedians on tomorrow night on Thursday, which would be awesome because I love my comedy.
For sure.
And it's filling up. When we busted through the wall, I definitely wanted to have that opportunity to have live music because it's been and has always been a part of my life, and especially being so one-on-one with these guys. I miss it. I miss the microphone in your mouth, and there's insane amount of awesome musicians that are in Sonoma County. And you don't have to need. I don't want your tour bus. I want you to have your beat up guitar case and your sticker on your guitar and play at the restaurant. So we just built this awesome stage today, which is good. The comedians are tomorrow, but the guitar guys tonight probably starts any minute now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how big is the stage? Like, how big of a band can fit on it?
So we can do. Right now, it's enough for like 2 people, but we built a little add-on, so we had like a bigger not a giant drumstick, drum set.
Yeah.
But just if you need a little bit of drummer, drum kit. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm around it enough. So we can add this little piece, like almost like a puzzle, almost like a Lego set.
Awesome.
So good size, probably. Yeah.
Cool.
It's 10 by 6 or 7.
And it's on the second side or the new side.
You walk right through Grants Pass and you'll look right at it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we have 59 beers on tap, 100 total with bottles and taps. So stage. We have our own bathrooms. I call it a place.
Oh, you do?
I call it a place to sit.
So Belly has its own bathrooms now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
That might be the most important upgrade right there.
For real.
That was my and they're awesome. The same guy that actually made all the chairs, made the bathroom partitions. He's really awesome. His name's Shane Hawkins. He's one of my buddies.
Nice.
He made all that stuff. He's very, very, very talented. But yeah, bathrooms. I keep going up to my office. I'm like halfway up the stairs. I was like, what am I doing on the stairs? Like I just spend way too much money on these bathrooms, but it's worth it. So so I'm super happy about that.
It's definitely worth it because going to Belly and then having to go next door to the Irish pub and share it was it was either like really comedy or really sad.
Yeah. Or you're like talking to yourself, do I really need to pee right now?
Yeah, like do I want to go in there?
Yeah.
Like I can wait.
Yeah.
I don't have to go in there.
So yeah, it's nice to have my own or Belly has their own bathrooms. And so it's good.
Never thought we'd be so
We
excited about bathrooms.
We talked a lot about bathrooms last 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah. I'm excited.
It's big news.
Yeah, big news. Front page.
For people looking for your radio show, where do they find you?
I'm on. It's called What's Cooking with Chef Gray. I'm on the 101 and the River. It's on Fridays at 12:45 and 4:45. And I just talk about food and travel. I talk about wine.
Nice.
Talk about other restaurants, not just Belly. I talk about things that are happening in Sonoma County, things that are happening at the New Belly, if it was music or a special or a top takeover or whatever. I've done a couple of the shows from tour, like when I was in Switzerland. And,
oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'd do a call-in and do my show, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to talk about when I'm on tour. There's always something different going on.
I bet.
So, but.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm Coco.
I am Mike.
And this is Rockin' Vino.